He was the Sangha member of Buddha's community. So he left Buddha. He started his own Sangha. And Ajatasattu and Devadatta, they met each other. So they wanted to kill the Buddha. So once Buddha was in Nalanda, they just, sent one bad elephant called Nalagiri to in front of the Buddha. When this elephant came very close to the Buddha, Buddha simply made it, this Buddha, this is Abhaya. Don't be afraid, don't escape. Then the elephant, it became like a tame elephant, came and touched the foot of the Buddha. So this is a miracle. Because Buddha is known as the compassionate one. So his compassion was so high, even the mad elephant came and just became a tame elephant. So this happened in Nalanda. And Vaisali, Buddha was a little bit, wanted to be alone because of Devadatta. So Buddha left and came to Vaisali. In Vaisali there was a great forest which is called the Mahabana of Vaisali. So Buddha entered the jungle, and once Buddha was meditating there, even the monkeys, they brought some honey and fruits and they offered to the Buddha. So it is a miracle. Even the animal, even the monkeys, they brought honey and fruits to Buddha. So this is another important place. And Shravasti, when Buddha went to Shravasti, actually Shravasti was the center of Jain religion. That was another religion, little earlier than Buddha. So many Jain monks, they just, little bit jealous with Buddha. Once they asked the Buddha about Buddha's teaching, Buddha became silent. Buddha simply sat in the meditation. And when the Jain monks saw Buddha, there were 100,000 forms of Buddha in and around. That was the miracle. So then they just go down in front of Buddha. That's the another place, Shravasti, which is one of the most important places. And this is where Buddha spent 24-day retreat in his life. And there is another place called, Sankasya. Sankasya is a place Buddha went to Siddhartha, met his mother, he taught the Dharma to his mother and came down to the earth. So these are the 4 binary places. And there are some other important places in the life of Buddha, like a Kapila Vastu. This is where he lived 29 years as a prince. Like a Rajgiri, this is the Bhaja Peak, one of the most favorite places of the Buddha. This is in Magadha Kingdom. Like Kesariya, this is another very important place. When Buddha was coming from Rajgir to Kushinagar for the Mahaparinibbana, the Vaisali people, they follow Buddha. So in the spot of Kesariya, Buddha said, please you go back. How long you will follow me? I am going to take Mahaparinibbana. But the Lichimi people with a tearful eye, they didn't leave the Buddha. So ultimately Buddha gave his alms to the Lichimi people. Okay, take this as a souvenir, my memory, then you go back. So after they heard the news that Buddha passed away, they brought that alms ball in this spot and they put a huge stupa in the shape of alms ball. So this is another very, very important place. And Pataliputra, Buddha quite often used to go there because it is the capital city of Magadha Kingdom. So these are the 12 places in a pilgrim route, and one has to visit all these places. So Buddha, before he passed away, he recommended, he told Ananda, after I am no more, men of faith, men of belief, and men of curiosity should visit 4 places. These places, one would feel the apprehensive nature of impermanence. So these places are Lumbini, where he was born, Bodhgaya, where he was enlightened, Sarana, where he turned the wheel of one. You can see this wheel is still turning. Not in the Asian side, it's in the west. The wheel is still turning here. And the last place, it is Kushinara, where he passed away. So these 4 places, Buddha recommended to visit, and these are the places one can feel the apprehensive nature of anicca, impermanence. So after the death of the Buddha, As Buddha said that, you go to Lumbini. The beautiful garden of Lumbini, it changed into a center of pilgrimage because Buddha recommended. So immediately after the death of Buddha, people started coming to Lumbini. In my estimation, I found many archaeological findings belonging to 6th century BC. But I don't know who were those pilgrims, who were those people, because there is no any record. Simply the artifact that goes to the 6th century BC. But the 3rd century BC, it became a milestone of the spiritual of Lumbini, history of Lumbini. Because in the 3rd century BC, the Emperor Ashoka from India, he made a pilgrimage to the birthplace of Buddha. It was a royal pilgrimage. Emperor Ashoka, not only he came to Lumbini, he brought a huge pillar, Ashoka pillar, I will show you that one. And he erected that pillar, he worshipped the spot where Buddha came to the world, then he created some stupa to propagate the Dhamma. So this is Emperor Ashoka. The first one is Emperor, the second one after he became a monk. He was a monk emperor. So in his visit, he brought this pillar. This pillar is not completed one. This is a sedimentary rock. It is a sandstone. Today this pillar is 37 tons. You imagine in a 3rd century BC, how he brought such a heavy pillar. And it is not completed as I mentioned. On the top it was a horse capital. If we put the horse capital, it will become 14 tons. And the interesting and beautiful part of this pillar is the inscription. This is the inscription, This inscription, it is in a Pali language and it's a Brahmi script. The inscription, is in a Pali. It says that Devana, Piyana, Sima, Rajina, Visati, Visidena, Agana, Agacha. Here I myself came to this place. Hither Buddha Jatri, Sakya Muniti. In the second line, he mentioned that I came here because here the Sakya Muni Buddha was born. It's very clear. The 3rd line mentioned that Sila Vigada Vicha. I will see that Sila, that stone, where Buddha came to the world. To commemorate my visit, Sila Vicha, I erected this pillar. This is one of the most beautiful inscriptions and which gives you the authenticity of the birth of Buddha in Lumbini. So this is in English. After Emperor Ashoka, there are many Chinese pilgrims, they came to Lumbini. The Sensai, the first Chinese pilgrim who came to Lumbini in between 350 to 375 AD. And when he came to Lumbini, he mentioned that, Sensai said that, I saw the spot of the Buddha, which is sealed by a stone. The spot is sealed by a stone. Then he mentioned that there is a nativity tree. The tree which Mother of Buddha hold it. He said that it is called Ashoka, that is Ashoka. I got so surprised, All the Buddhist texts and literature did mention that it was a Sala tree. But this Chinese, he said that it was an Ashoka tree. Then he mentioned that this was a nativity tree, the sculpture. I will show you later on the sculpture which Mother of Buddha holding a branch of the tree. And after that, we have another Chinese called Fashan, who came in Lumbini in the 5th century AD. And he mentioned about the pond where Mother of Buddha took a bath, and he talked about the tree, and he talked about the other sculpture. The most important pilgrim was Fashan, Xuanzang, which is known as Wenzhang. And when he came to Lumbini in the 7th century AD, he mentioned that the pillar, it was having a horse capital on the top. This horse capital was lying in the ground because of lightning. So pillar is cracked in the center. And Xuanzang further mentioned that he saw the pond where Mother of Buddha took a bath. And he talked about the tree, Ashoka tree, which is dead. And very interestingly, Xuanzang, he started his travel from China, that is the central China. It took him 6 years to come to Lumbini. From From central China, he walked all the way to Karakoram, crossed the Karakoram, then went to Afghanistan. He saw the Bamiyan Buddha. After that, he turned to the east. He came to Jalandhar in Kashmir, in Punjab, then crossed the Gobi Desert, and all the way he arrived in Lumbini. It took him 6 years. You imagine, that's the pilgrimage. How much he has, this feeling to have a pilgrimage to God place. And after him, we have one Nepali king from the western Nepal. He came to Lumbini in the 14th century. After 14th century to 19th century, there is no history of Lumbini. Suddenly, the history of Lumbini entered into the dark period. What happened there? Such an important body spot of the Buddha suddenly it disappeared. It may be the reason that, due to Islam invasion or due to revival of Hinduism. So one side, Islam, they were expanding their religion, other side, Hinduism was reviving. So Buddhism became a sandwich. One side Islam, other side Hindu. So the Buddhist community, they left Lumbini, went to the northern side, hillside. So Lumbini, it became a big mountain, big hill. All the big structure, stupa, vihara, they all fallen down. And if you see in the center, this is the pillar. Those who visited Lumbini, you can remember that Ashoka pillar in Lumbini. This was already buried. One is few feet on the top was visible, rest it was covered with the debris. So in 1996, one German archaeologist and Nepali gentleman, they dug that pillar. When they dug it, they found the pillar like this. And they found the inscription on the pillar. So they read the inscription. Here the Sakyamuni Buddha was born, and this is where, Ashoka came and worshipped the goddess spot. And he erected this pillar. So this date, December 1st, became another historic date for the Lumbini. So every year in December 1st, we celebrate as a Lumbini Day, and this is a very important day for Lumbini. And after that, Lumbini, many archaeologists started coming and started digging. This is in 1899, one Indian archaeologist, he came and he opened this stupa. So inside this stupa, he found some relics. Unfortunately, he did not analyze those relics. These relics, most probably, maybe the Buddha's one. And after that, the another discovery by this Indian is, this sculpture. This is the sculpture he drew it in 1899. Here you can see the mother of Buddha holding a branch of a tree with her right hand. Next to her, her sister Prajapati. She is supporting Mayadevi at the time of delivery. And there are two celestial gods. They came to this earth to receive Buddha, and Buddha is shown here. So this sculpture is one of the earliest sculptures which depicts the story how Buddha was born in Lumbini. So we dated this sculpture 4th century AD. So after 1899, there are many other pilgrims they visited to Lumbini. Like the most important visitors are, Annamalika Dhammapala from Sri Lanka. Most probably you have heard his name, and who actually revived Buddhism in Bodh Gaya. So next to him is Jinapara Vamsa. He is a prince of Thailand. So these two, they came to Lumbini in 1898. And they have given a beautiful description of Lumbini. After that, there is a lady called Alexandria O'Neill. She is a French lady. She went to Tibet and spent 20 years in Tibet. And she wrote many books. She came to Lumbini and she talked about Lumbini. Another very important person is this man. He is a Japanese monk. His name is Ikai Kawaguchi. So Nepal, honored him and we made a stand of this monk. So when this Ikai Kawaguchi came to Lumbini in 1930, what he saw that people were killing the animal, sacrificing the animal and offering the blood to the Buddha statue. Because the Hindu people, they thought that this Maya Devi means it is a goddess. She is the goddess of power. So for the power, its blood is to be sacrificed, offered. So they brought the animal, buffalo, goat, chicken, pigeon, and they kill it, offering blood to the Buddha statue. So Nikai Babaji, he wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Nepal. Please stop this. This is a Buddha. He is a teacher of ahimsa, non-killing. People are killing the animal and offering the blood. Stop it. The Prime Minister of Nepal did not bother. He threw this letter in the dustbin. Again he wrote it. Again he didn't bother it. Again this Japanese, he wrote the third letter. Then the Prime Minister of Nepal, realized some importance of Lumbini. Then in 1925, he declared, from today, no any animal sacrifice at Lumbini. So this is all the credit goes to this Japanese monk. And after that, one archaeologist came to Lumbini. So this is, after 1933 to 39, one Nepali gentleman called Kesha Shamsher, he started digging this beautiful mound of Lumbini from top to bottom. If you see this, the photograph to the right, this mound, without understanding the archaeology,